Hello everyone, my name is Alyan Firewala and my today's special guest is Mr. Dave. Okay, sir. So, hello, Mr. Dave. How are you?
Hello, Alyan. I'm very good today. Yep, had a nice quiet weekend, so and looking forward to seeing some of my family this week. So very good.
That's awesome, really awesome, great. Okay, so first of all, I am very thankful to you for giving me your precious and valuable time for the interview.
Yeah, it's tricky sometimes trying to connect with people on different time zones. So I'm glad that we were able to find a time for both of us.
Exactly. So, before moving on a question, can you please introduce yourself to my viewers?
Yeah. Okay. So my I'm generally known as Dave Tex Smith. I am 62. I am living in Aotearoa, New Zealand. That's just off to the side of Australia. For those that don't know where New Zealand is, it's a country about the same size as Japan and the United Kingdom, but we only have 5 million people. Um, we were one of the last places in the world to be settled by people, and the indigenous people are called Maori. And I think a lot of people know New Zealand for sheep and rugby players. So, yeah, there's a little bit more to it than that. Most of my working life, I started in a government mainframe computer center and did that for 5 years, looking after government computer networks and running processes. This was back in from 1979 to 1985. Then I became a sculptor and lived in a big house in the country and made statues. I took a different tangent. And then I ended up specializing in helping people with disabilities and brain injuries, inventing games and recreational therapies and things. And then a couple of other things. I did a couple of other things, but I started one of the first web design companies um, when the World Wide Web came about, and we started with web design, selling computers, and become an ISP, then making databases and advertising, branding. I'm basically a creative person and a problem solver, so I hire technical people. Um, the technical stuff does not interest me as much as what we can do with it. Um, I my claim to fame, I guess, is I got the patent for a process that we use now with QR codes, scanning codes, um, using a 2D barcode, and I did that to address problems with workforce, with seasonal labour around the world, and to help horticulture and viticulture companies manage workforce so that everything was legal and no illegal workers. That technology was used in India to help people without bank accounts um, safely bank without money lenders. Um, and of course, that technology was used during the pandemic to trace people. So I've been part of government think tanks, designing policy and the way policy is designed. Um, I have helped initiate a regional bioregion with medicinal crops that's turned into medicinal companies for our poorest region. And at the moment, I'm designing a platform for publishing. And I'm busy writing 13 children's books. So that's keeping me busy at the moment, writing and illustrating and designing a new type of platform. So that's a quick bit of my life. How about yourself? Where is your interest?
Wonderful introduction, amazing, sir. Very nice. Okay, so my first question in the screen. So, can you tell us about the inspiration behind the person, Captain? How did you come with his unique character?
So Captain Conceptualus is I I've I've written a series of 5 children's books. It is about children solving problems around climate change and habitat. And one of those characters in the story is Captain Conceptualus, who is basically me, somebody who comes up with ideas about things. So a conceptual thinker. So in my stories, I want children to be not passively consume stories, but to be part of stories. And so this series of 5 stories um, goes into the depth of science and discovering the world around us. And it's full of fun characters, um, some very stupid adults and some very smart children. Um, so that it is, I guess some of your viewers might know Dr. Zeus, um, who was a famous children's author, and C.S. Lewis, who wrote Alice in Wonderland. So I tap into different cultures and cultural stories to create this work. So it's good to connect with your culture as well, because I want to explore the challenges that you've got and how do we tell those challenges in stories that inspire people.
Awesome, wonderful, amazing. Okay, so what are the main qualities or traits that they define Captain? How do you they reflect your approach to strategy and development?
Um, Now, for me, Captain Conceptualist is a made up character, and I have lots of different characters. I'm even known as a wizard in New Zealand, which is a fun character, kind of like a magician. So, one of the things that I try to do is to help people to see the world from multiple perspectives. So my inspiration is to create a positive environment for storytelling and the power of storytelling to connect people and to connect cultures and to connect us to the environment and understand the environment better. And so that's my inspiration is to create fun characters that we can learn from.
Amazing, wonderful. Okay, so what are some memorable experience or lesson you have gained it while approving Captain during your professional journey?
Okay, so let's just with the work that I do at the moment with story writing, I am very lucky to be connected to really interesting people all around the world. Um, some of the leading thinkers, some amazing academics, scientists, engineers, and so what what I've gained from that is getting an insight into their lives and how they've become who they've become. And you're doing that with your interviews as well. You're you're looking into the lives of other people, and and gaining something from that. And so, in my professional career, you know, I I realize what my strengths are and what my weaknesses are, and so I bring people in to complement those things that I'm not so much interested in, or and probably have weak skills in, like finance. Um, but I'm really good in creative, in illustrating and designing, drawing, solving problems. Um, and whether it is policy design or inventing a new piece of technology, it's all about how do we solve these problems? How do we get to where we want to go? So I'm always listening to other people, always listening to podcasts, always having conversations with people all around the world from different societies and communities. So humility is really important for all of this, to be humble and not arrogant, and humble and learn and appreciate and give back.
Exactly right answer. Okay, sir. So, how do you balance the creative, imaginative aspect of captain with the practical requirement of strategy and development?
um, yeah, good question. That's a really good question because one part of that is the imagination and creativity is very much the right hand side of our brain, and the finance and breaking it down into chores and jobs is very much the left hand side of our brain, and we need to learn to develop both aspects of our of how we use our mind. So I have to make myself do some of these things that, like I enjoy doing the strategy stuff. I enjoy writing business plans. I don't enjoy filling out government forms, um, because I just spend more time doing the creative stuff. So it's always a challenge, and I think it's a challenge for somebody who is more a creative thinker, um, and because I live in a world of imagination, um, but then part of what I want to do is help children develop their imagination, develop their um, concept of what the future might look like. We get a lot of negative stuff. Let's look at the positive stuff that we can do.
Awesome, wonderful, great. Okay, sir. So, what inspired you to Kiwi Clean Living and what motivated you to take on a role in strategy and development there?
Yeah, another good question. So you've done your research, which is good. Um, I was involved in designing a policy for people around the Pacific to come to New Zealand to work, um, in the horticulture sector, which generated many millions of dollars for people in the Pacific Islands through remittances. After I had done that, I started to focus on what other things they need in the Pacific Islands that we can provide for them. And one of these things is clean cook stoves. And so the clean cook stove movement is one that you will have in Pakistan. I have contacts in India as well, and basically giving particularly remote villages access to a clean, healthy way of cooking, and cook stoves that also recharge devices like phones and tablets, and provide lighting as well through burning like coconut shells. So Kiwi Clean Living was my next project to help people around the Pacific. I've stepped out of that project now. We set up a trust called Village to Village, which is to take the health benefits of that and the connection to education services. And so that has now been done by some other people, and I've moved into the publishing side of things.
Great. Okay, sir. So, what role do creativity and conceptual thinking play in the shopping strategies you develop for Kiwi Clean Living?
Um, yeah, Kiwi Clean Living. really just it required creativity in the business model and how we had the business model because we needed to get cook stoves to people to reduce the cost of using other forms of energy and to remove the environmental damage caused and also health damage from from open cooking. So the creativity side was coming up with a way of of generating the money to provide cook stoves and a way of getting cook stoves from here into people's hands in remote islands. So the creativity was more around problem solving than anything artistic, apart from designing branding and logos and things and website. So that's the creativity was in the business modeling and the finance.
Great. Okay, sir. So, how do you navigate the balance between the long term strategy planning and the need to adapt to rapidly changing market dynamics?
Yeah, this is a challenge. Um, I am part of the network of professional futurists, and so one of the things that I've done over the last 3 years was host Global Futures Day, which is a 24 hours on Zoom, and it circles around the world with communities joining a Zoom call that goes for 24 hours. So in Pakistan, it starts, Global Futures Day starts at midday, and I host people from your country, and then it goes to the next country and on and on. So what that does is that it helps all of those people who join the Zoom call at any time in that 24 hours to see the challenges and the changes happening in communities around the world and to hear from well-known engineers and designers and economists and really to get an idea of what's going on rather than just through media, but through a global open conversation. One of the interesting things that happened, not this year but the year before, was that we had um, an AI robot as our host running a meeting in Korea, which was interesting because people were asking the robot questions and the robot was asking us questions. So that was interesting. And that's a little sign of the future too with AI.
Amazing, sir. Okay, so can you share an example of project where simulating and conversion or out of the box idea lead to significant positive outcomes?
Yeah, this that probably the best example of this was the creation of um, the barcode reader, um, the 2D barcode reader. And that came about because I'm just looking for it. When Nokia made their first little smartphone with a Series 60, so we could program our mobile phones and it had a camera on it. Um, I was looking at how simple technology could identify people and places and products and solve a very complex problem around food supply and labor supply so that we had a model for solving the complexities of government regulations and and global regulations and and good employment practices and good people management in a very changing world. And so that was, I was invited into a government think tank because I had a very simple way of doing that with by inventing this simple piece of technology that could encrypt an identity, so it was safe for you and allow you to be create transparency in a very complex system. So there's still much that we can do with that sort of thinking, but very simple thinking for a very complex problem. And one,
Wonderful.
yeah, one the World Bank said was one of the best poverty alleviation schemes they'd ever studied. So that was a really good success.
Exactly. Okay, so how do you recharge your creativity and maintain a fresh perspective when tracking complex strategy challenges?
Another good question. I go for a walk in the forest every day. I have an old dog, and I live in a place where there's a lot of native forest around, very beautiful. We have a large volcano just out my door, um, and I go for a walk in the forest, and that gives me time to think, and I make up songs, and I sing, and I talk to the trees, and I just eh, doing something physical helps the mental process when you're stuck thinking your way through an idea or a concept. Sometimes it's better to actually do something physical, and it just naturally answers itself. You find the answers. So it's good for your health. It's a good way to breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, in a clean air, in a natural surrounding. And nature often has the lessons in that forest, by the way that nature designs things. So nature is the best inventor of them all.
Nice, sir. Okay, so could you share a memorable experience that include that enhance of your journey or as a both captain and seasoned professional in strategies and development?
Ooh, I've had a lot of experiences. Some of them challenging and difficult. It is very difficult to be um, a kind of like a thought leader before there is a market for a concept or a product. Um, I guess some of the most enjoyable experiences have just been where I've met somebody new and we have this amazing conversation. Um, Recently, I was wearing what's called a ponamu, which is a greenstone or jade pendant that was gifted to me. It's a very spiritual thing to have one of these. You can't buy it for yourself; somebody has to give it to you. And a well-known engineer who is leading the change of environmental energy in China and the US reached out to me when she saw what I was wearing because she also had one gifted by a Maori here, and so that was an incredible experience where we spent 2.5 hours talking about what she does in China to move China forward into the future in a healthy way, and what she's doing in America, and what she's doing now with the people in Hawaii. And it was a chance for me to talk about my focus on what I'm doing for children, and for children to become influencers of their almost their adults, the parents, for them for their visioning of the future. So it is meeting people like this, and meeting people like you as well, that is the most rewarding, because at the end of the day, you are going to be the one who's going to be solving these problems and facing these problems and challenges. And life should be an adventure. So think positively and enjoy the adventure of all the challenges ahead.
Wonderful, sir. I am again very thankful to you for giving me a precious and valuable time. I hope everybody some learn something new with your knowledge and experience. Thanks so much, sir.